Okay, I think we are live, which is incredibly exciting. Sean here again, and give me a like if somebody is out there in the universe, so I know that I'm on it. I think it's all going good. I've got the wonderful Irene Van Dyke here today. Amazing. Thanks, Irene, for your time.
You're more than welcome. Thanks for having me.
Do you like the banner that I prepared earlier? Played 72 games for South Africa and 145 for New Zealand. Is that correct?
Yes. And by you doing that, it just shows my age. You sad, sad man.
This is going to be a fun interview, I can tell. I thought we'd start with a quiz.
My favourite.
Is that okay?
Sure, why not?
And the thing is, what makes this quiz really, really good is that it's not about you, it's about me. And if you win, you get this Essential Talent mug because you're part of the Essential Talent team, as we know. And it's the only one out there at the moment. In fact, there's 3 out there because I can't afford to buy any at the moment because things are a little bit, tough at the moment. So here are the questions. So the game is called How Well Do You Know Me? Because it's all about me. Okay, so here's the first question. If you get 2 out of 3 right, you get the mug. Okay, here we go. Question number 1. What is the name of my dog? I'll give you a clue. It's a musical instrument starting with B. I'm disappointed. We're off to a really bad start.
That is so sad because I really like animals.
I know. You just it's banjo. Okay, you've got. I'll tell you what. I'll give you 2 more chances. 2 more questions here. So they're playing the game. How well do you know me? With Irene Van Dyke. It's all about me. What is my middle name? So it's Sean O'Neill. What is my middle name?
Let's go with Sean Sebastian O'Neill. Your parents are going to hate me for this.
It's Patrick, which is about as Irish as you can get. And this is the 3rd question. This is your last chance, Irene. And then we'll start talking about you because nobody is the least bit interested in me. What is my favourite flavour of potato chips? What is my
Salt
favourite?
And vinegar.
Yes, it is. Yeah! It's coming your way. You've got I'll even clean it for you. I'll even clean it for you. I really like that mug too. Do you know what? If you'd said chicken, I was just going to tell a little white lie and go, yes, it's chicken, but it is. Okay. Do you like salt and vinegar chips?
Yes. I think the majority of New Zealand like salt and vinegar chippies.
Are you a healthy eater? I'd say you probably are.
No. I'd actually skip a meal for chocolate and cake and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Shall we get serious?
But you know what? Everything in moderation, though. And saying that, yeah.
What's your favourite breakfast? Like in the weekend, if you're going to go right, I'm going to rip into it. I'm going to make a really nice breakfast for the family. What would you have?
Bacon, eggs.
Yeah, you're a typical Kiwi, aren't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what?
You can't go wrong with that, though. Everyone loves that.
Do you know what I did the other day? This is true. I got up early, and my eldest boy is in lockdown with me, and my youngest boy is with his mum in lockdown. And I said, I'll cook you up a feed of bacon and eggs, and cooked me up a feed. And then my dog, that you don't know the name of, but you do now, Banjo. He looked up at me like this, like, and I thought, I better put some bacon on for him. So I cooked him up. So I put the pan back, some bacon. He's like, thanks, Jed. Thanks. It's great. Okay.
You are a good dad.
Well, it's just, I love that dog. So why don't we talk through a little bit of where it all started? So let's go back to living in South Africa as a child and tell us a little bit about it. This is where I get serious, okay? Tell me
Right.
about living in South Africa and getting brought up there.
So I grew up on a farm in South Africa, and I went to a little wee farm school, which was pretty little. You know, everyone knows everyone. Everyone's parents know everyone. Everyone socializes with everyone. So I loved growing up on a farm. It was quite isolated. When you're young, you don't really mind, entertaining yourself and saying that we were not allowed back in the house until it was dark. So you pretty much had to entertain yourself. But on a farm, there's so much to do, ride horses, build little wee houses and go hide and seek on your own and do things like that. So, I was quite fortunate. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. So by far the youngest of the 4. So my oldest brother is 10 years older than me, my sister 9, and my other brother 5. So I grew up pretty much on my own because they've left home by the time I had brains.
Love it.
Which came way later on.
And so when did you start getting into the netball? What age were you when that happened?
I started playing netball when I was probably about 9. And saying that, I only played netball because my friends were like, look, we need 7 girls to play netball. You are the 7th girl, so come on, play. I was way more into athletics and cricket and those kind of things. So, yes, and after my first year of netball, I was like, oh, this is pretty nice. I like this, and I can do this. I was absolutely terrible at it, but loved it.
Really? Well, how were you at cricket? How'd you go? Were you a fast bowler? No.
In my younger years, yeah. Although I wasn't this tall. So I grew 20 centimeters between the ages of 16 and 18. Really? Yeah, honestly, I looked like this freak coming down the street because all of a sudden my bones and my muscles didn't work together. It was like, and I think my parents were like, what the hell is happening to this child? Is she ever going to stop growing? I was quite little up until 14, 15, 16. When the photo went like this, I was on the ends. So, yeah, and then something happened. It's like, wow.
When did the netball start to happen for you in South Africa? Talk us through that.
So I played, obviously you play for school, and when you turn 12, you get the opportunity to go and play rep netball. And I went for rep trials, didn't make it, although a few of my friends made it, and I was absolutely gutted. And see, in my mind, I thought I was better than them. Obviously the selectors didn't think so. So I played trials when I was under 12, under 14, under 16, and didn't get in any rep teams. Luckily I was really good at athletics. So that kind of took the blow of people shooting me down for netball a bit away from not being good enough at netball, because athletics was pretty much I was a 100-meter hurdler and a 400-meter hurdler. So that was my main priority. But in saying that, my very last year of school, I was like, I'm not even going to play trials because seriously, you get shot down so many times. Come on. And my dad was like, come on, just entertain us. Go play trials. So I went and played trials, and I made it. My very last year of school, I made it. And it wasn't actually until I did a speaking engagement here in New Zealand, probably about, 10 years ago, that it all of a sudden just clicked that the reason I was selected when I was 18 was because I grew 20 centimeters in my last 2 years of school. So I was the only big freak in the team. So they had to pick me because I was the biggest bird in town.
Get in there. Get her in there.
I know. It's like, it's not because I was any good. It's because I was the biggest bird around.
Oh, you're funny. So when did you start playing for South Africa?
I went and studied in Potchefstroom, and there, your first year of studies, it's, wow. You're out of the house for the first time. You're struggling to cope with being away from your parents who made really healthy food and looked after you. So it was pretty much alcohol and, toasties and hot dogs and stuff. So it wasn't really good. So I gained about 20 kgs of my first year of studies. I was quite a chunky monkey and obviously became too heavy to do any hurdling. So that was kind of my downfall. And I thought, maybe I should just focus on netball because I don't really need to run 100 meters or 400 meters for that matter. And one of my best friends, she was a pretty good netballer. And she was like, come on, man, just come and play with us. So, just started focusing hard my first year of studies, getting into the netball thing, and then got selected in our provincial team and was selected for the South African team for the first time in 1994, which was the first year that South Africa was allowed out of isolation.
Oh really?
Yes. So I was lucky enough to be in that first team that was allowed to travel internationally for sport.
Before they went into isolation, like in those early years, were they a good netball team in the early?
Personally, I think they were an amazing netball team, but they never had the opportunity to play international netball because there were so many sanctions against South Africa that no one played against the South Africans. So you literally played like NPC. You played in South Africa and you had provinces playing against one another year in and year out. There was never, so they chose like the top team, but there was no one to play against. So they identified the top players every year in isolation, but they never actually got to play international netball, sadly.
So that must have been an amazing feeling for the country when, they're welcome back into the sporting community, and there must have been a lot of hope in South Africa back then.
Oh, it was just incredible. So our president, Nelson Mandela, was obviously, everyone thought he was bigger than Ben-Hur because he was, personality-wise and mana-wise. He just took South Africa to a whole new level. And for the rest of the world to actually come to the party and welcoming South Africa out of isolation was just fantastic. Our first trip out of South Africa, we went to England and we played 8 tests, 5 against England, 5 tests against England, 1 against Northern Ireland, Wales, and Scotland, and we won all 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, wow. That was awesome. We thought we were the shiz, and then we came to New Zealand and Aussie, and we got smacked by like 40, 50 goals, and we were like, oh wow, okay, maybe we're not that good.
The country must have been buzzing.
Oh, it was just incredible. It was just incredible. Yeah. That first trip out of South Africa was just phenomenal. And every time you get back at the airport, everyone was there welcoming you back because everything was just escalating at a rate of knots. It was just fabulous.
What was one of your favorite moments playing for South Africa?
Very controversial moment. It was in 1995 World Champs when South Africa beat the Silver Ferns in the semi-final. Because South Africa was in isolation for so long, we had Joyce Brown from Australia and Yvonne Willering from New Zealand coming to South Africa after we got smacked down so badly. We got those 2 coaches to come and work with the South African team prior going to World Champs in 1995. So, yes, we ended up playing against the Silver Ferns in the semi-final, and the South Africans beat them by 2 goals. Yeah, it was just unbelievable because us as the South African team actually went in knowing that the Silver Ferns were the best team, or in our eyes, we thought the Silver Ferns were the best team. And when we beat the Silver Ferns, we were like, hold on, this is just incredible. So I think we played our final against the Silver Ferns, because we couldn't care less about the next game, which was the final against Aussie. So it was pretty significant.
So how did netball rate in popularity back then as far as compared to other sports? Obviously, would rugby be the number one sport back then in South Africa?
Yeah, rugby, cricket, boxing. Boxing was huge in South Africa. Yeah.
Okay, so
no, netball didn't rate anywhere. It was never televised. It was pretty much going under the radar, and it was only the netball fraternity that actually paid attention to what was happening in netball.
So talk me through this, because I don't really know enough about this. What made you move from South Africa to New Zealand? Was it you wanted a new lifestyle, or did netball come to you? I don't know the backstory to that, because I don't do enough research and I'm useless.
So in 1999, Kathy, we played the World Champs in Christchurch. And Kathy Doyle, the president of Netball Wellington at that point in time, came to me after the tournament and said, would I like to come to New Zealand for 6 months and just play Coca-Cola Cup those days? And I was like, oh, that sounds wonderful. So my mum was actually in New Zealand with me at that point in time. And I said to her, Mum, I have this opportunity to come to New Zealand for 5 or 6 months to play the Coca-Cola Cup. Should I do it? And Mum said to me, oh, what an opportunity, darling. You should do that. And when your mother tells you to do something, you do it.
You do it, yeah.
And that was pretty much it. And I went back home to South Africa. And then I said to my husband, well, I have this opportunity to go to New Zealand. You need to stay and work, because I'm going and I'm taking Mum with me, because I had Bianca at that point already.
Yes.
And I said, I'll take Mum, because Mum can look after Bianca, and you just make a living and let the money roll in.
Love it. And so how did that go? Like, how did you find New Zealand compared to South Africa as far as the lifestyle goes? Because I hear a lot of friends of mine have visited South Africa in the past, and they go, oh, they're just like Kiwis. They love barbecues. what do you call a barbecue in South Africa? It's something like a braai.
A braai.
And they say, oh, they love their sport, and they're just like us, really. Like, what differences did you notice between the two countries when you arrived here?
I think that's probably why I loved New Zealand, and why I just loved the people and the whole lifestyle behind it, because South Africans are very social, and so are Kiwis. And like you say, the barbecue, if you can do a good barbecue, you win everyone over. And it is just, it was so similar. Food is exactly the same. There's a few differences, like traditional foods that South Africans make that's not here. But other than that, it was pretty much just life as normal. And because I had Mum and I started teaching straight away when I came to New Zealand, that was pretty much just rolling over, because I'm a trained teacher, and I literally just walked into a job and I started working at Ferguson Intermediate straight away. But in saying that, the netball was so different here than in South Africa. So in South Africa, you literally rock up for training twice a week. You warm up and you start playing the game, and then you work one another out that way. Whereas here, I got my pre-season training, and it was getting into a gym. I was like, what the hell? Why would I get into a gym? What do I do in a gym?
I love it.
I'm like, I don't even know what to do in a gym. Jeez, I don't even know what equipment they have in a gym. I was like, Moses. So I got this program because Lois Muir was our coach for the Shakers those days. And she sent me this pre-season program. I was like, and there was running, and there was gym, and there was shuttles. And I was like, wow, this is unreal. So I interpreted the best I could and got to Wellington, and I realized, oh, hell no, sister, you done nothing that was supposed to happen. So we had a fitness trainer as well that actually took me for the first time into a gym, and wowzers, that was a whole new kettle of fish, that one. So I never actually got into a gym until I came to New Zealand, which was at the age of 28, at the ripe old age of 28. And that was probably the first time that I learned that you need pre-season training, in-season training, and then when you finish netball, you just keep training because that is what people do here. And it was a massive eye-opener for me that how professional the Kiwis are.
How did you feel debuting for New Zealand? Because wouldn't you have had sort of mixed emotions on that first game in particular, knowing, that you'd played 72 games for South Africa previously? What was going through your head in that first game?
It was massive. The first game that we played back against South Africa was actually in South Africa. It was huge because I literally came off playing World Champs for South Africa in 1999, and I was the captain of the team as well. And then all of a sudden in 2000, I ran out in a black dress against the South African team, which was huge in itself. I can remember Yvonne Willering standing next to me, and as soon as the South African anthem started playing, I had tears rolling down my eyes, and I can remember Yvonne just shimmering closer to me, and she just held me, and it was incredibly emotional.
Wow.
As soon as I started, because Julie Seymour made sure that I knew the New Zealand anthem. She nailed me right from the start. So as soon as we started singing the New Zealand anthem, all of our girls literally just huddled in, and that feeling of belonging was just incredible. And once we took the court, it was like game on. It was like I forgot everything. It was just all guns blazing. But it was incredibly emotional. And the thing is, my whole family was standing in the crowd singing the South African anthem. And here I was just crying through the South African anthem and literally just singing the New Zealand anthem. So it was, But you know what? As soon as I made myself available to play for the Silver Ferns, Mum and I spoke about it, and it was... I wasn't here to hit and run. This was going to be my home forever. This was where I needed to be, and this is where I will stay for the rest of my life. This is where I want to bring my child up. This is where I want to be for the rest of my life. So it pretty much, yes, it was emotional, but I knew it was for longevity. It was definitely my home. New Zealand was becoming my home.
And I mean, you've become a real, you're one of the most, if you say Kiwi, you say Irene Van Dyke. You're so Kiwi, aren't you? You just love it.
Completely. Yeah, completely.
So what are one of the highlights playing for New Zealand?
Oh, I have so many.
I know. Tell us. We're in no rush. We're in isolation. Let's hear all of them. I've got all day.
Debuting was obviously one of my highlights, but then throughout the years. So in 2002 Commonwealth Games, we didn't win. We came second. But that was one of my highlights because I was like, oh my God, we came second. It was unbelievable. The rest of the team didn't quite celebrate it the way I did, because coming second for the Silver Ferns is not something you celebrate. So I learned very quickly that we only, we strived for gold, and gold we will celebrate. And in 2003, we played World Champs in Jamaica, and we beat the Australians, which was amazing. And it was such a highlight. I can remember that Parliament actually came to a standstill to watch a little bit of that, which was pretty awesome. And then 2006 Commonwealth Games in Melbourne, we beat the Australians. See, it's always beating the beast. So it's always beating the flipping Australians. And then 2010 was probably the highest of the highlights, because it was our final against Australia. We went into full time. It was a draw. Overtime, it was a draw. Double overtime, it was a draw. And they were like, look, let's just play until someone is 2 goals up. So I think that game took about 91 minutes. I can remember Katrina Grant.
Yeah.
Katrina Rore and Casey Corpoa, they had cramps from numb, but they kept going. And another reason why 2010 was such a highlight was because I was the flag bearer for New Zealand out into the stadium.
How did that feel?
You feel, honestly, you feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
Yeah.
I walked out with a flag and I looked back and it was that sea of black. And, it's the cream of the cream that's there. It's the beast of the beast. And I looked back and I was like, how can you describe this feeling when you walk out in front of your team and you look back and they stand behind you like one solid rock? I'm like, mate,
it can't get better than that, seriously.
Nothing better. And then after our final, we had one side of the stand completely blocked out for our Kiwi athletes, and it was packed. And after the double overtime when we won, everyone just went into a haka. Oh my God, I'm goosebumps now, just thinking back at how powerful that is. Oh, it was, just indescribable. It was loud, it was deafening, and there was so much passion in that haka. It was,
fast forward to 2020, we've got some challenges in netball at the moment how do we get through this? As far as netball goes, you've got teams in real problems, haven't you, with financial situations?
It's not an ideal situation, but I think our netball community are quite resilient. I think when something goes down, there are other people that will pick up and run with it. And I know with mainland, the people in mainland would be wondering, we too from here, what is going to happen? But I think Netball New Zealand and I think all the other zones that have the capability at this point in time will rally together and make sure that netball does not stay behind. I think it is the unknown, and I think it's the unknown that is killing everyone at the moment, because every day changes. Like you have no idea what tomorrow looks like. So I think all the zones will rally together and make sure that netball just keeps on ticking over and make sure that everyone stays connected. Because at this point in time, people just want to feel valued. There are people that's losing their jobs. There are people that has no security at this point in time. And, it sounds like it's easy to say. My heart skips a beat every time I'm thinking of, I might not have anything tomorrow. You just don't know. But I think for us, knowing that you're part of something bigger and that you still add value and that you can show some love, I think that's all we can do at this point in time.
I was going to close with that. Obviously, being one of our great New Zealanders, not just on the court, but also, reputation of being a very kind and loving person, because you really have got that reputation. We're so proud of you. What advice would you give to people who are finding it really difficult in general, not just the netball community, but people that are at home, they're uncertain about their future, or they may have even lost their job? Have you got any words of wisdom on how they get through, or how they can be more resilient, or how they can, de-stress? Because obviously you've had lots of challenges in your life.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake people can do is say, I know how you feel. Unless you're in that situation, you have no freaking idea what those people go through. And I think, if I ever get into that situation, or if I do face a hard situation, I literally look at it now for what it is now, and take one step at a time. Celebrate the little things. If you have kids, celebrate the kids, play with them, stay connected. ring people, ask for advice, tell them your story. I think the biggest mistake people can make is isolate themselves and start thinking that they are the only one that feels like this, because you're not. If there's a lot of people that feel isolated, that feel lonely, that feel broken, that feels completely depleted from the world. And I think just, the sun will rise. It might not be the sunrise you were hoping for, but the sun will come up, and somewhere along the line, it will turn. Just make sure you stay connected and keep growing yourself. Look at videos. Look at do things that will build yourself up.
Irene, you're not just one of our sporting greats, but you are, as I said, such a kind, loving person, and we are just so honoured to have you as part of the Essential Talent roster, and I wish nothing but the best for you, your family through all this, and thanks so much for your time today.
Oh, thanks, Sean, and to you and the rest of New Zealand too. Just hang in there. We're going to come out of this stronger, faster, and better than before. It's going to take time. No one knows because the future is going to be different, completely different to what we've always known. So just hang in there.
Thanks, Irene.
No worries.
Bye.
See ya.